morning, beloveds. I apologize for being a little sniffly. One of two things could be happening here. I could have caught the cold that my boss had earlier in the week, or because we have high winds, and depending on where the winds are coming from, it could be allergies. Who knows? So, I apologize ahead of time. All right. But we have an interesting title today. So I'm also sans cat, so I may not be as distracted today. No cats in here. Right. It is January 12th. Our title is Growing Out or Growing Up. And our author is Doris Dickelman, and this was published in the Science of Mind in August of 1969. So, there are times when all of us doubt that we matter very much, because life tends to obliterate the importance of the individual. Except for our families and a few friends, it seems like we are becoming more and more depersonalized. But to grow afraid under pressure, manipulation, devaluations is unworthy of our divine heritage. In God's sight, there are no anonymous or unimportant people. Each one of us is important because each one of us has been created in the image of God. So God created humanity in its own image. Is the image of God created they, them? What? Not in terms of physical form, but in terms of creative thinking entities. The New Testament affirms, "Beloved, now are we the children of God, and it doth not yet appear that we shall be." It doth not yet appear what we shall be. Namely, to what heights we may grow. We are important, you and I, because God needs us to express God's self. Whatever our education, social or financial situations or color, God needs us to express abundance in living, to express freedom in terms of constructive activity, to be our true self, to exercise our divine potential, but not in terms of license or action at the expense of others. The person who is able to appreciate themselves as a divine incarnation knows that a mistake doesn't lessen, but only delays their good, but will help them grow if they will benefit from it. Has solved one of the riddles of life. The world belongs, the very wise have said, to they who accepts this truth humbly, acts upon it courageously, and fulfills it grandly. Oh. Yeah. Okay. She quoted a couple of Bible quotes, and okay. My head's a little stuffy, so I'm not clicking on all cylinders this morning. But when I was reading it, so if you don't know by now, I'm a huge Doctor Who fan. I love Doctor Who. I have loved Doctor Who my entire life, as far as I know. We were in England during the third Doctor, his stint. Everybody knows Tom Baker that knows Doctor Who. Everybody knows Tom Baker. Of course, everybody loves Tom Baker. And I grew up watching it on PBS. I loved Doctor Who. And while Matt Smith is not one of my favorite doctors, although I love all the doctors, one of the things that he said is, in 900 years, I've never met anybody who wasn't important. And that struck me because the character, I forget who he was talking to, but, it's just one of those characters who, and it was a woman who just didn't think they were important. They didn't think they had anything of value to contribute. Well, we get caught off guard with this idea of purpose. Like, everybody has to have this purpose. And it's got to be some grand purpose. And they use the argument, well, what if that child would cure cancer? Okay, that child doesn't have to cure cancer. You don't have to cure cancer to be of value. The fact that you live You are of value. What Jesse likes to remind us, and what I'm going to remind you, is if we could be said to have a purpose, it is to express God. God is having an experience through us. Spirit is having an experience through us that Spirit couldn't have any other way. Now, that might cause us to look around the world and go, why would Spirit want to have this experience? Well, Spirit doesn't if you are not happy. Spirit wants you to be happy. But it still can't have the experience that it's having without you. And if you look around the world and you go, well, why would Spirit want to have, then now you can look at your life and go, well, maybe I can make some changes. Maybe this is your wake up call to going, well, if this is the life Spirit's living, well, Spirit can do better. Yeah, Spirit can. You can make different choices. You are not unimportant. You are important. And I'm glad that you are here. Even if I don't personally know you, I am glad that you are here. I'm glad that you are having an experience. And I do want to remind you that, whatever talents you have, whatever gifts you have, whatever it is that you do that you truly enjoy, that's a gift from Spirit. What you do with it is your gift back to Spirit. In 900 years, I've never met anybody that wasn't important. Everybody, every living thing is important. If you look at the balance of nature, that if you take one animal out of the ecosystem falters. They learned that lesson with wolves. I think in Yellowstone, and I forget what four-legged population it was of, what do they call them? Ungulates? I don't know if it's antelope, deer, whatever, but they took they took the wolves out of out of Yellowstone, and suddenly this particular population, we'll call it deer, exploded. And they started, it was no longer healthy because the wolves weren't, taking out the unhealthy deer. And they started to really impact the plants, the deer. They were eating so many of the plants that the plants were suffering, and they were driving some plants to the edges of. And so it's like, everybody is important. You may be a cog in a wheel, but the wheel wouldn't turn without you. Okay? And just because you're a cog in a wheel doesn't mean you have to be unhappy. You are absolutely, you heard the quote in there, we are children of God. It is yet to be determined what we will be, but we're still children of God. And joy and peace and harmony and happiness, those are all qualities of God. They are qualities of you, and you deserve all of those. You may have to work for them. I mean, to some degree, we all do. But if you look at children, babies in particular, I was talking to a friend not so recently, but one of the things is with the two purest sounds in the world, that if I need comfort, a cat's purr and a baby's laugh. And I was talking to a friend, and why we were talking about the baby's laugh. And what is it about the baby's laugh that is so amazing? Because it's pure. Because you know that they are laughing out of joy, out of amazement, out of wonder, out of sheer, they are expressing a true emotion because they don't know how not to. Okay? When we hit a certain age, we can fake laugh. And so there's always that back of our mind questioning, is that a real laugh or are they just humoring me? But not with babies. Babies are real, joyous expressions. And that's who we are. That's who we are. We are real, joyous expressions. And sometimes we forget that. Oftentimes we forget that. I had a tough day on Wednesday and I was struggling yesterday, and I texted, a group of people and said, hey, this is what's going on. I'm struggling. Please help me remember that I am a beloved child of God and that I can treat everybody like a beloved child of God. Because when you don't feel like a beloved child of God, it's hard to treat everybody else like a beloved child of God. That's why you always you do your work first. It's like, all right, I'm a beloved child of God. Well, once I know that I'm a beloved child of God, then I can treat everybody else like a beloved child of God. Okay? So, again, I'm going to quote Doctor Who. This time I'm going to quote Tom Baker. What's the point of growing up if you can't be childish sometimes? Okay? Maybe he meant childlike. Maybe he meant childlike. And I think it's good for us to remember that occasionally. You don't have to grow. You may have to grow old, but you don't have to grow up. But it would be a good idea to grow spiritually. And maybe instead of growing up, we can grow out. We can expand out our spiritual nature and expand out our spiritual reach and become that island of peace that we want to be. Maybe we're not at 100% of the time, but we can do it more often. We can practice it more often. And remember who we are. And that's one of those things that I would, maybe we could go back and retranslate made in the image of God. Maybe there's a different word. Because image, we immediately think of body. And as she said, that's not it. We weren't made in the image of God. We were made at what God is, a thinking entity. We were made in that image. I might even say we were made in the vein of God. We were made of like material. So, all right. I got really passionate and then kind of tapered off right there at the end. I guess my energy ran out. But I can't use it all up. I got to go to work today. All right. Her last paragraph. The person who is able to appreciate themselves as a divine incarnation, who knows that a mistake doesn't lessen but only delays their good, but will help them grow if they will but benefit from it, meaning learn from your mistakes. I'm a big believer of you've never failed. You haven't failed if you've learned something from it. And you get up and try again. Even if you get up and try something different. You haven't truly failed if you learned something from it. But has solved one of the riddles of life. The world belongs to them who accept this truth humbly, act upon it courageously, and fulfills it grandly. So the mission today, should we choose to accept it, is to appreciate ourselves as a divine incarnation. To appreciate yourself as a beloved child of God. And that might be the hardest thing that I've ever asked you to do. To look in your eyes and see God looking back at you. To look in your eyes and to tell yourself that you love you. That's the mission should you choose to accept it. Which ironically goes right into the next mission, which is to do something loving for yourself, do something kind for yourself, do something compassionate for yourself. Believe it or not, self-care is a spiritual practice. Just like meditation, just like treatment, just like, all that other. Self-care is a spiritual practice. And I give you the examples of taking a deep breath before you speak. Or to take a walk, take a nap, take a break. But going and looking yourself in the mirror and saying to yourself, to see, being willing to see the beloved child of God looking back at you and to say, I love you, and to mean it. It's easy to do with other people. It's easy to do with other people. It's not always easy to do with ourselves. But it is one of those self-care things that is extraordinarily important. All right? And I just lost my train of thought. But that's okay. The rest of this, you know how I like to say eat dessert first? Because I say our life is a special occasion. I mean, we're here to have experiences of the divine. We're here to have experiences that the divine couldn't have without us. We get to choose those experiences. Maybe we need to choose a little bit better. So eating dessert first is one of those choices. But what I realized after last year, what I realized that I meant was don't save the good stuff. Don't save the good stuff. Wow, that wind is really high. You may be able to hear it on the recording. Don't save the good stuff. Write the fancy notebooks, wear the fancy clothes, eat the fancy foods, do all that now. Don't wait for a special occasion, make the occasion special. All right. The other suggestion is that I want to remind you that joy is a quality of God. Therefore, joy is a quality of you. No matter what is going on in the world, no matter what is going on in your life, you still deserve joy. Please make room in your life for joy. All right. Gonna roll forward. Keep going. The rest of the suggestions are basic self-care. Do something to engage your mind and your body, whatever that looks like for you, unless today is your day of rest. Drink plenty of water. Hydration is super important. Especially when you're sniffly. Your brain works better, your skin works better, it looks better, and your body works better when it is well hydrated. Drink plenty of water. Get that early in your morning bright light. I have not, which may be why I'm a little groggy. There is a nice sunbeam though, so the sun is definitely out. So I'm going to go get me a little bit of sun on my way to the car to go to work. Between 7 and 9 is the best time according to science to support those circadian rhythms. Get that vitamin D. The sun is at the perfect angle. But if that is out of your scheduled time to be awake, that is not early in your day, artificial light will help. And if you need extra support, then please Google seasonal affect disorder light or sun lamps. They're real things. And at this point, they should be light bulbs you can just screw in. They do work. They do work. All right. They use them in Alaska all the time. All right. Where was I? I think I'm at the part where, I guess I'm at the social media. Oh no, I have an Ernest Holmes quote for you. Open the windows of your soul. Allow the breath of heaven to remind you do live in heaven right here, right now. It's all around us all the time. What does that mean? Two things. One, it's all God. Two, heaven is in a locality, as one of our authors said recently. Well, she was quoting Ernest Holmes. Heaven is in a locality. Heaven is not a place we have to get to. It's a state of mind. It's a state of consciousness. Once we learn that, once we learn to create it for ourselves, two things happen. One, nobody can take it away from you. Two, any place can become heaven. And then it becomes a superpower. So you can be an island of calm and peace when everybody around you is losing their heads. It happens. It happens. But the good news is when one person does not lose their head when everybody else is, sometimes we can sort the situation out. So, try it. You might like it. And you can take Emma Curtis Hopkins' advice. Look for the good and praise it. Honestly, that is one of the best. She is phenomenal at that kind of stuff. So, try it. Okay. I feel like the wind is very loud. Very loud. Glad I don't have very far to go today. All right. Oh yeah, now I'm at the social media part. We are Creative Life Spiritual Center, Creative Life Spark. I'm the running Rev Ryan on the social medias that I am on. If you want to know what's going on with the center, please email info@creativelife.org. There's hours of content on both of the YouTube channels, so please, subscribe while you're there. That way you'll be notified when we upload new videos. Like them, share them. That bumps us in the algorithms. so that we can get this message out to more people. We think we've got good stuff to say. We hope you do too. All right. Yep. Now I am at the part where I get to encourage you to have a great day, a wondrous day, a fantastic day, a magical day, an enchanted day, a wonderful day, an awesome day, an amazing day, an enthusiastic day, a Friday, I get to go to the park tomorrow day, a wrapping up that work week day, a getting stuff done day, a taking a break if you need it day, a growing up day, a knowing who we are day, a good day. And if that is too much pressure, simply have a day. You are enough just as you are. You are a beloved child of God. Go look in the mirror and tell yourself that. In whom God is well pleased and well represented. You are a brilliant light. You are a divine spark. You are spirit in motion. You are God in action. Or as Reverend Jesse likes to call us, you are a godling. Know the truth of your being. Know the truth of your being. Peel back the layers of everything that you have been told. By stereotypes, by archetypes, by ad executives, by marketing people, by gender normatives, by society, by culture, by religion, by people that know you, by people that don't. Peel it all away and get to know who God knows you to be. Because I can promise you one thing. The person God knows you to be is good. All right. All right, beloveds. I am going to go and tackle my last day of work. So I'm going to encourage you. No, I'm going to remind you. Reverend David will be on around 5 p.m. with you. I'll be back with you around 9 a.m. I do get to go to the park tomorrow, though. Take care of yourself. Know that you are loved, and I will see you next time.